All right. April 8th, 2026. Jack's ramblings of the day. Um, I don't know. I just hopped off my phone, doing a little doom scrolling, fun stuff. But one thing I would like to note is I did a little diving into the Epstein files. I still plan on doing more. Time is just a huge factor. I need to come to the conclusion that, I'm never going to have enough time and I just need to get over that and just do it. Looks like there's a little bump on my head. No, I didn't headbutt anything. I don't know what that is. Regardless, it's my third eye. That's what it is. Um, regardless, Epstein Files is so sick. For one, I did a deep dive into the Rothschilds. I tried to find a connection with the Bohemian Grove. I did find a little bit of one. Granted, I believe the majority of the files are redacted still. I don't believe that. I kind of know that. It's kind of been a fact. Not only that, the files that we do have present are heavily redacted. So, you don't find names. You don't find certain things that they don't want you to find. Why? Because they were redacted. Regardless, um, there's some sick stuff in those files. If you haven't looked, go through the files. I don't know, look up shrimp, pizza. What was another one? Hot dog. All that sort of stuff. I looked up worship, found some crazy stuff in there. I'll be finding more stuff. The Rothschilds come up with 13,000 documents. Now, there's a huge conspiracy for a long time. Conspiracy, that the Rothschilds control much of the world. I did a little deep dive into the Rothschilds. Granted, I'm going to make a video regarding that. It's just going to take me a long time because of 85 pages of crazy stuff that the Rothschilds were involved in, kind of going through their entire history and how they came to power. Did you know they helped create pretty much all the railroads in Europe and then kind of controlled all the railroads in Europe? All trade was pretty much through them. Um, they were down in Africa, starting wars for one. Two, they were the only ones allowed to sell De Beers diamonds in Europe, which is still the biggest diamond company in the world. And they acknowledged the fact that someone had to go in and control that diamond mine and the mines themselves because they didn't. If you flood the market with diamonds aren't precious, and you can't make a lot of money on things that aren't precious. Second, oil is the same idea. There's tons of oil on this planet. It's not a fossil fuel. That was made up by John D. Rockefeller. He sent a envoy to this big science convention in somewhere in Europe. I don't remember where, Geneva or something. I don't remember. Regardless, he sent that guy with a mission to essentially say, "Hey, um, oil contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Therefore, it's a natural substance and produced from biological beings. Therefore, it is a fossil fuel. You Fossils have only ever been found, like, I don't remember what it was, 16,000 feet and below. I mean, and above, 16,000 feet and above to the surface. And oil is drilled much deeper than that. Um, the fabrication and the lies. When I was a kid, and to this day, I like writing. I need to do more writing, granted. But narratives are easy. People want to be told what to believe, and that was a big thing that Jesus Christ taught, is that use your God given brain to discern and think for yourself. It's getting harder by the day. Why? Because our food poisoned. We got radiation all around us all the time that impacts our brain. I've looked into that. That was one of my things for today that I wanted to get. Granted, I didn't find anything that I could actually make myself today, but what I wanted to do was essentially develop a curtain. I found out that they already exist, so that I can put it around my bed, and protect myself from EMF radiation, electromagnetic frequencies, emitted from 5G, from your cell phone, from any device you have, is emitting radiation essentially. I believe it has a substantial effect on your brain. I think it's been pretty much, it hasn't been proven. The science is, and that's the other thing. I went to school to essentially become a doctor, and granted, I haven't been to medical school yet. I applied, haven't gotten in yet, but back on the Rothschilds. They heavily funded McGraw-Hill, which is the biggest producer of textbooks in the United States of America, at the very least, United States of America. And, so that narrative has been fixed. Our education system is bizarre. It doesn't educate, it indoctrinates. That's what it does. It doesn't really educate people. Granted, it educates people to a certain degree. I think a big argument is, literacy, people can read. You don't think that can be taught in other ways? You don't think people want to be able to read too, so that they can then communicate with other people? We're like communal and tribal beings, and in order to be in either of those, you have to be able to communicate. That's just a fact. Animals communicate, just not via the complex languages we use. So it's like, that's not a good argument for educational effectiveness, in my opinion. Yeah, it's great and all. I would prefer people to be able to read, but we don't even have the best literacy rates in the world. So try to tell me something else. Tell me something else. Like math, science, we are very insufficient in. We do not inform our populations to do math and science to the level we should, especially at this point in time, as advanced as we are. Why is that? Because we don't want people making inventions. We want corporations making inventions so that they can then profit. And when I say we, I don't really mean we. I think the majority of people would prefer that, technology ramp up and speed up, but that's not as profitable. If we were just as advanced as we could be, you couldn't release a new iPhone every year and make millions of dollars. We wouldn't be amazed by certain new technologies because we're limited in scope as to what even are the possibilities. Because our education system doesn't educate, it indoctrinates. It teaches you how to essentially work a 9-to-5 job. Why do you think you go to school from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.? The same schedule as a work schedule, 5 days a week. It's to indoctrinate you on how to be a working slave, essentially. That's my take on it. Granted, my mother was a teacher, and I have this discussion frequently with her. I don't know why it comes up as frequently as it does. She hates it. I hate it. You think I like talking about this stuff? You think I would prefer people to be educated? I've learned so much more in my, I'm not exactly going to say that I've learned a lot through education, but I've learned how much I should have been taught as well outside of education. Um, did you know? And this is the craziest thing to me. You know, back on the Rothschilds, essentially controlling the education system and writing what we learn, through McGraw Hill. The Holocaust. You know what they teach is that it was essentially a Jewish and genocide, right? It wasn't just a Jewish genocide. It was a genocide of the Slavs, of um, Africans, of the Poles, any minority group that wasn't deemed perfect, and for the eugenics that the Nazis wanted to do. I shouldn't even say that. Like, this video is already gonna get censored. I feel like all my videos, in a way, get censored to a degree because I touch on subjects that maybe I believe they should be touched on. Um, but anyone in power, which YouTube used to be a platform you could post things not on on touchy subjects, but now, no. So, because it's corporate now. That's my rambling of the day. Thank you. May God bless. Much love. And praise be to the Lord. Adios.